So we are on a tech. Oh, here it is. There were some minor problems. So my name is Katarina Hansson, and I don't intend to introduce myself much more than that. I would start saying that when I was a student at Lund University some 25 years ago, I was studying marketing, and the marketing professor, he was talking about the drill and the hole. I don't know if you have heard that one. And the whole idea was that people don't ask for a drill because they have a problem, and the problem is that they would like to have a hole. And for me, in the 20s, I was like, who cares, you know? But the thing is that when I start working, I sort of realized that he had a point. The point is that it's not what you offer to the market, but it's what problem do you solve. That is the key to remember. So, who am I? In a tech conference, I would like to introduce myself from a technical perspective. So, 1978, I was introduced to the first computer. It was at high school. It was by that time where students with high grades in math were allowed to enter this secret room, who was allowed to take pictures of the computer to actually feel it, but we are not allowed to use it. By that time, I didn't know that my future were data analytics. And then 1985, I was a student at the Lund University. And remember, 1985, there were no PCs at the university. No mobile phone, nothing. The most advanced thing I had, I possessed a typewriter. So when Steve Jobs came to Lund University in 1985 on his promotion trip, he visited Lund University. And he saw that, wow, to expand the market, why not give away 2 PCs to this university? So in 1985, he actually gave Lund University a couple of PCs, or computers. So we signed up as a student. That was 1985. That was the first time I've ever started using a computer. In 1992, I got my first mobile phone. And that was a lifesaver, or not my lifesaver, it actually was my husband's lifesaver. Because in 1992, I was out on a business trip, stay over for 1 week, and with a newborn baby back home, he felt like, oh shit, I need to reach my wife 24/7. So he bought me the first mobile phone. And then 2009, that was my biggest eye-opener. That was a mobile phone. And in that time, I decided that I need to do something else. Because this mobile phone, the access of information, will change the way we are thinking, acting, and working. So my life, even though I'm a business person, have always been working with sales, marketing, business development, have no technology background, even though I actually study programming in the 80s, I have a big interest in math, but also I have a big interest in data and analytics, but from a business perspective. So, what I'm going to talk about is that even though there is a ton of data out there, you know, there is so much data. So, you know, the old say that data is the new oil. Yes, new oil, I don't know. But the thing is that data is all over the place. And, you know, any kind of data you can capture. But still we have problems. We are not using the data, we are not using the insight for business development, and I haven't really understood why. At the same time, I've been working the past 7 years helping customers to transform their business. And for me, transforming business today in a modern world is about understanding how to utilize the data and the insight to actually do better things. So combining that there is a lot of data out there, for us it's obvious, we know that. But also the challenge is that there are so many applications. So the 7 years I've been out working with business transformation, I have seen that there is an increasing number of applications. We have seen this with facial recognitions. We have seen heat maps. There are robots. Name it. There is a ton of applications. But some couple of years ago, there was a change. Before this, with data and the applications was a purely IT dialogue. But then somewhere 2-3 years ago, suddenly this started to become a business conversation. And you can say that, why is that a challenge? The challenge is that they don't know where to start. So, remember that today, when it's a business manager who says that we need to do something, we need to convince them to do something. We need to help them. We have been talking about there is a lot of things out there that need to be done. But at the end of the day, the owner of the budget is the business owner. They decide, but they have lack of competence. So they're reading reports saying that there are trillions of US dollars out there only by using data and insight to transform your business. And that is their guiding. So if there is a big business opportunity, there is a ton of data available, and there's a million kinds of different kinds of applications, why are we then still struggling? And that is the big questions for many companies. Why is nothing happening? The thing is that there is an elephant in the room. And this elephant is something that we have touched a couple of times. All of us here, we're working with data analytics. For us, that is, everyday life, everyday dialogue. But remember, the elephant in the room that no one really talks about is that there is too many people around us that doesn't have the same skill set, who actually don't understand how to develop business based on applications and data. And no one's really there to talk about it, because then they reveal the lack of knowledge. And that's scary. And I wouldn't be sexist saying that it's a malish thing, but here I can say it. If you're a business manager and a man, last thing you would do is to acknowledge that you don't know. But that's a fact out there. So instead of trying to wait until the business manager have decided what to do, we can help them to get going. If we are aware that they don't know, even though they say they do understand, I promise you, if they understand 20% of what you understand, that's really good. Which means that 80% you have to fill in the gap so they actually get value of the data analytics. Because that's the only way to get value out of it. So the elephant, the biggest elephant in the room is the lack of competence out there. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people who takes the business decision here. So one of the bigger elephant is that even though everyone is talking about it, everyone knows that the only way to get going is to tear down the silos. Every business manager I'm talking to say that, silos is the worst thing. We need to tear down the silos. As long as it's not my silo. I have one example from a couple of months ago. I was visiting a client. I was invited by one of the managers to talk about future in retail, the art of possible. And I said that, I really would like to do that on one condition. If you invite all the business stakeholders around you, not only marketing, I would like to have the sales manager attending, product management, pricing, everyone to attend the room. This is not Sweden. This was actually South Korea, but nevertheless, this is a global problem. I was entering the room, and I was calculating to have some 30 minutes presentation, but 10 minutes of that I need to give away because I found out that the people in the room have never met before. So if we're talking about tearing down the silos, the first thing to do is to secure that people know each other. So the thing with silos is that people are so busy in managing their own part of the process. They don't have, I would say that most likely most of them understand that this has to go away. But they are so busy in running their own process. So we need to help them overcome this problem. So what can we do? I have identified 4 things that I think that we can help them to do in getting more value out of data analytics and to dare to innovate even more. But first thing, the most important question is that to get them to understand that if you're going to get some value out of the investment, you need to have some kind of idea why you're doing this. Because these reports, I think it was it Gartner? No, McKinsey, saying that there are still too many companies from a business perspective that they really don't know how to get value out of the investment. And I've heard someone say that, that is still a big problem because if it's a problem, you don't get funding for the next thing. So we need to help them to get value out of the fundings. So what is the first thing that you have to help them with? Part of helping them is to start asking, why are we going to do this one? Remember the hole and the drill. That was all about why would a customer buy this drill? Because they would like to have a hole. It's the same thing with our data and analytics. If you can't get the business owner to answer the question, why are we going to do this? What is your problem? Then I would say most of the cases you will fail. You need to get an answer to the question, why are we going to do this one? So, we have also talking about the silos. And even though there is, I would say that the newly founded companies, they are aware that silos is not good for a digital company. But if you're looking at a traditional company, no matter if it's retail, finance, insurance, or whatever, they have strict silos still. And the challenge with why is that the why sometimes is not supporting the KPI. So for example, a company is still driven by earning money. That's a reason for existence. But the KPIs is still today also in different kind of silos. I will give you one example why KPIs is something important. Then you should not accept that it's just one owner that is talking about this KPI. So this is normal organization with a sales, marketing, supply, and range, supply, marketing, sales. This is totally a normal retail setup. And one of the important KPIs is, let's say this is average ticket. Average ticket is the one signal, if that is declining, it means that you're not earning enough money. So the revenue, total revenue will then decline. So if, for example, the typical situation with this KPI, which is one of the core KPIs for retailer, the normal situation is that this is a KPI owned by the sales manager. Selling is sales management. Quite logical. But the thing is that even though this KPI is the sales management's KPI, sometimes there is someone else influencing these KPIs. For example, it could be that this average sales ticket is going down because there is a problem with stock availability, which means that something that marketeers is promoting is not available in stock. Or the shelves is empty. Of course, the average ticket goes down. So it has nothing to do with the sales management. The actual problem could be something else. It could be issue with supply. It could be issues with marketing, promoting products that we all don't even have in stock. It could be actually the range that is not reflecting the segments, or pricing that is not competitive. So the thing with KPIs, you should start asking why you have a problem with average ticket going down. So first thing to do is to start to getting the collaboration across the silos, which means that you are taking the responsibility, saying that, yes, we have a problem with the average ticket. It's not the sales problem. It could be a supply problem, but we don't know. Why don't we do this as a cross-company in innovation instead, to find out how to increase the average ticket? Because it might not be the first thing that we think of. It could be someone else who actually owns the problem. So force them to think about how can we as an organization work and support a KPI that is important for our existence. So collaboration is first thing to secure. The second one, we have talked about all these kind of cool applications. And as a consultant, business consultants, I meet a lot of people that is jumping on the hypes. Business managers saying, oh, Katarina, we need to have robots in our stores. And I was like, okay. And at the same time, I know that they don't have the MDM, Master Data Management. They're really crappy. They have no clue of the data or the data quality, but they are eager to get the robots in the store because we have seen that. Walmart is doing that in US, so we can do it as well. And I was like, okay, but why? Why would you like to have a robot in your store? Why focus on robots when you don't have clue of the different kind of insight you need to have to be able to have the value of investment in data or in robots? Because the thing is that to have investment in robots or cool application, it requires a ton of information. For example, if you're going to have value out of a robot, in this case, they need to have a digital planogram, which means they need to have a digital, schedule of where exactly you're merchandising the goods. You need to have insight, real-time information about the product and price. You need to have insight about the product affinity, because if one product is out of stock, which one should I then replace with? Thing is that the hype with application is not that it's not doable, but most business owners, business managers, they don't understand what's required. So you need to have them to say that, yes, robots is a cool thing to do, but we need to have a plan. We need to secure that we have correct data, that we are framing how to get from here over to have robots in our stores. What will that require? Thing is that they don't understand how to get from here to there. And that's our job, to help them to translate what is required to get going. Because if you don't know, you can't demand or you can't execute the plan. So that we can help them with. And then also, with all these cool applications, you also should be aware that many business managers, they are attending events like this. they're hearing about cool applications, they're hearing about companies or competitors doing cool stuff. But the thing is also, again, with lack of knowledge, they could be able to jump on something that is cool, fancy, but just because it's cool and fancy. There are so many applications out there. So I have, for example, if you compare Amazon Go, everyone heard about Amazon Go, I guess? Yep, good. All the applications linked to the Amazon Go, everything from cameras, you have a QR code linked to the payment, everything is linked together in an ecosystem to get this going. Super cool. But the same thing, Walmart has applied the same kind of technology, but for the completely different reason. So Amazon Go, the concept here is that you enter the store, you pick and choose, and you exit the store without meeting one person. Completely free of staff in that store. But with the same technology, Walmart have decided that we still would like to have people in the store, but we are using the same technology for other purposes. It could be that having cameras to secure merchandising, for example. So the thing is that we need to help them. Where is the opportunity? It's one thing that you have a vision, but also it helps them to identify what can you do with the technology. Where is the alternative way of utilizing the technology? There is not one way to do it. It's like a smorgasbord of options. And if you have lack of competence or limited knowledge, the smorgasbord seems endless. So we need to help them to identify what can you actually do with it. Third thing is prioritize your business case. As I said that, I think that someone said that it's better to do the small steps and guide leaps. And this is also doing prioritization. How many of you are working towards a business use case roadmap? Do you have a business or use case roadmap? Not many. Yeah. Some of you is doing, yeah. Good. I would say that it's fairly underestimated, this with having a use case roadmap. It sounds like MDM, quite boring, but I would say it's quite essential. Because with these prioritized use cases, if you have a goal where you would like to go, it's not that the organization managed to go from here to there. It's too much for them. Because it could also imply that you need to do big changes or change the way you're working or tearing down the organizational structure. So these with use cases also give you the possibility to test and try. Test and try, that is all about use cases. Going from here to there could be, for example, I can take one real case example. I have one customer who just have starting to use Affinity for building the range, finding out when it's the time to replace product with A with B, and how to use that when we do the building the range and so forth. But then I say, hey guys, the same kind of insight they can use online. And then they say, but we are not responsible for online. And I thought, but you have just invested in product affinity. I don't care who's responsible. I said that you can use it. I said, no, let it be. It's not our responsibility. And this is not the first time. And I think that having the use case prioritization, but also help them to see how can you use the same insight in many, many places. There are some, pathing can be used in many ways, substitution in many processes, so forth. It's a method. Depending on the data and depending on what to do with it, the business user can use it and scale it and look at it from different kind of angles. But they don't know. And there there comes us, who have the insight, the knowledge. We need to bang saying that, I hear what you say, but wouldn't it be good if we actually support e-commerce platform with the same insight? So help them during the prioritization. So from my business perspective, my learning is that there are 4 things that you can help changing. Is to help them to start collaborating across organization. Don't accept that you just have meeting with one department. Especially if you understand this problem is not one department problem. Rather wait and say that, wouldn't it be good if we invite colleague X, Z to the same meeting? Because then you have insight from many people into the same problem. The second one is to help them to plan for success. Meaning that I know that innovation is super cool, but innovation is just cool if it supports something greater. If it's not supporting something greater, it will be a cost or investment. And the worst case would be that it's something that no one is using or see the value of. But if you incorporate that in a plan, you have something saying that, okay, this will help us achieving the plan, even though it takes 1 year before we see the great value. But secure that you have a plan. The second one is also identify the business. As I said, Amazon Go versus Walmart. Help the business to identify and articulate what would they actually would like to do with the technology. Because there are many ways to do the same thing. And then finally, the 4th thing is prioritize the use cases. If you don't have a prioritized use case, it's really hard to play with the information. Then it's just a playground. And companies don't afford playgrounds. They would like to have a solid plan and how to get going. So what is our job? Our job is to secure that we are delivering the right insight to the right person for the right purpose. That is our job, and that is how we can help the business going, is to help them, inform them, inspire them, and guide them. Not only be data science, or I wouldn't say only, but also take the lead of guiding them. Because if we don't guide them, we are guided by them. We all know that nothing will happen. And it's really hard to get business value out of the investment. Thank you.